Manipur is where our focus is going to be lying for the initial couple of minutes, because Amit Shah, the Home Minister, he's been there. It's been a proper blitzkrieg, and on the final day he held a press conference, and in that press conference he's made some major announcements. So essentially, Amit Shah has announced judicial probe into the Manipur crisis. There's a peace panel and a unified command. That's the Indian Express you've got there. What do they have to say?
Well, the Indian Express too has more or less covered the biggest events on the past 24 hours. And yes, as you mentioned, India-Nepal ties also finds mention. There is on the top masthead, there is an exclusive report by Indian Express which talks about demands for sexual favors, and that is what Brij Bhushan Singh has been accused of. We'll come to that later. Obviously, Manipur finds a distinct mention, and then later on talks of DGP being transferred and peace panel headed by the governor to be formed. This is what Manipur was all about.
Break down the 5 top decisions that Amit Shah took in Manipur before he left the state. What are those 5 top points? I mean, there's a peace committee for sure in there, yes, and a judicial probe as well. But what else?
Well, first of all, Kabir, after his meetings with both the Kuki and Meitei community, his choice for the DGP, P. Dongal, he has been now shifted as the officer on special duty, home. Rajiv Singh, a Tripura cadre IAS officer, posted as IG CRPF in Tripura, has now been appointed as the new Manipur DGP on inter-cadre deputation. So this one significant change that has come across in Manipur obviously holds a lot of significance. Then second biggest aspect that Amit Shah mentioned was that of making an appeal, rather a warning, I would say, to those elements who are carrying weapons, illegal weapons, and he said surrender the weapons or face the consequences. So that is the second aspect. Third aspect is obviously the peace panel, which will be headed by governor. It will be formed, and it would, the key word there was the panel would look into reconciliation without bias. Without bias is something that
the Hindustan Times has actually, put it out in a stepwise. There's a nice infographic on the Hindustan Times if people have subscribed to this particular newspaper. It says, steps announced to quell violence. Number 1, formation of a judicial panel. This will be headed by a retired High Court Chief Justice who will probe the violence. Number 2 is the CBI investigation. A special CBI team will investigate 6 cases, 5 registered for the violence and 1 on the criminal conspiracy behind the clashes that have gripped this state for the last 1 month. Number 3, formation of an inter-agency command. So there's going to be a unified command as well. This will be headed by former CRPF chief and Manipur security advisor Kuldeep Singh himself, and will maintain better and non-partisan coordination. Number 4, it's going to be a peace committee to be headed by the governor and will include business persons, sports stars, representatives of parties and members of civil society. Number 5, there's going to be better connectivity. The Home Minister mentioned several logistical and connectivity issues that will get special attention. Number 6, finally, impartial probe into the clashes. Amit Shah has said that the investigation in the matter would be, quote-unquote, completely impartial and neutral to find out the main reason that has led to the violence. But I'm just trying to understand here, Pankaj.
Right.
Is there a main reason? Isn't this a problem of a plethora of problems that are coming, that have been dumped into the basin at a single time? Is there one main problem that you could, find a solution to and fix the entire Manipur crisis? I mean, from where I'm looking at it, it seems like there's more than one problem over there. How will just one problem solve the issue? But the bottom line remains that the Home Minister has come out with these 6 steps. I'm trying to understand, has this had that balming effect on the people's wounds? I mean, they're emotional, they're angered.
Right. See, I mean, as far as the issue of Manipur is concerned, there is not just one aspect that needs to be taken into account, at least now, which is 1 month down the line of sheer violence in the state. there are lots of aspects to be taken care of, and one among them is obviously law and order. Second is the identity, the honoring the identity of both both the tribes there, which are at loggerheads as of now. And thirdly, instilling faith in governance. People, what is happening right now is they are losing faith from the administration. Police is losing faith there. The army's role is commendable so far, but obviously there are certain sections which are saying that we would rather take guns into our hands than go to the talking table. So reining in all those elements who have either stolen weaponry with them or are operating under illegal licenses, that is also one crucial aspect. Thirdly, Kabir, most important aspect, Indian Express has given a detailed report on those who have actually run away from Manipur and have taken refuge in the national capital, and some of the students who are living in camps in Mahipalpur are looking at a very bleak future because they ran away as their houses were being burnt, and some of them have just managed to to get just their mobile phone and some clothes, and they came to Delhi where they were actually studying earlier. And for those individuals, for those candidates who they don't have now any home to go back, and they are worried about their parents, their family members back there in Manipur. So how do we placate them? How do we put the balm, as you mentioned, on these wounds? That is going to be a multi-pronged approach will be needed to actually handle this.
Well, absolutely. There's this Rajiv Singh replacing Dongal as the state DGP. One's from the Methi community, the other from the former actually from the Kuki community, the latter from the Methi community, and it's junior as well. That has now been has been placed as the DGP in Manipur. We'll come back and talk about this. Let's quickly listen in to what the Home Minister had to say in that crucial press briefing.
परमानेंट सॉल्यूशन के लिए हमने म्यांमार और मणिपुर की बॉर्डर पर पहले ही ट्रायल बेस पर 10 किलोमीटर बाड़ लगाने का, फेंसिंग करने का काम हमने पूरा कर लिया है और 80 किलोमीटर के काम को हमने टेंडरिंग कर चुके हैं और बाकी की बॉर्डर की हम सर्वे भी चालू कर रहे हैं और पड़ोस के देश से आने वाले लोगों की बायोमेट्रिक्स और आई इम्प्रेशन लेने का भी काम चालू है, जिससे आने वाले दिनों में उकसावे से यहाँ पर हिंसा न हो। जिन लोगों के पास हथियार हैं उनसे भी मैं अपील करना चाहता हूँ कि अपने अपने हथियार पुलिस के सामने सरेंडर कर दें। कल से पुलिस कॉम्बिंग ऑपरेशन करेगी और कॉम्बिंग ऑपरेशन करने के बाद जिनके पास से हथियार मिलेंगे उन पर कठोर न्यायिक धाराएं लगाई जाएंगी। तो मेरा सभी से अपील है कि जिनके पास हथियार हैं वो सभी लोग पुलिस के सामने अपने हथियारों को सरेंडर कर दें। मेरी सभी मणिपुर वासियों के से अपील है कि आप कृपया अफवाहों पे ध्यान न दें। अफवाहों के निरसन के लिए यहाँ पर कुछ टोल फ्री नंबर बनाए गए हैं। इधर और साइड से शांति बनाए रखें। मणिपुर में शांति के कारण विकास का एक नया युग 6 साल से चल रहा था। कोर्ट के एक फैसले के कारण, थोड़ी मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग के कारण ये मनमुटाव हुआ है। मुझे भरोसा है कि मणिपुर की जनता आपसी सद्भाव के साथ चर्चा कर जल्दी इसका निपटारा लाएगी। एक रिलीफ एंड रिहेबिलिटेशन पैकेज को भी तैयार किया गया है। जितने भी लोगों का जान गया है वो सभी को 5 लाख रुपया मणिपुर सरकार की ओर से और 5 लाख रुपया भारत सरकार की ओर से 10 लाख रुपया दिया जाएगा। ये राशि डीबीटी के माध्यम से उनके परिवारजनों के सीधे बैंक अकाउंट में ट्रांसफर की जाएगी। जो इंजर्ड हुए हैं उन इजाग्रस्तों के लिए, जिनकी प्रॉपर्टी का नुकसान हुआ है, उन लोगों के लिए भी एक रिलीफ एंड रिहेबिलिटेशन पैकेज तय कर लिया गया है, जिसकी डिटेल घोषणा कल भारत सरकार के गृह मंत्रालय से हम करेंगे। मणिपुर में अभी ढेर सारी एजेंसियां सुरक्षा की दृष्टि से काम कर रही हैं। उनके बीच में बेहतर समन्वय के लिए एडवाइजर श्री कुलदीप सिंह जी, जो कि रिटायर्ड डीजी सीआरपीएफ हैं, उनकी अध्यक्षता में इंटर एजेंसी यूनिफाइड कमांड की व्यवस्था आज से ही हम रचना में लाएंगे, जो सभी एजेंसियों के बेटर कोऑर्डिनेशन के लिए, पक्षपात विहीन कोऑर्डिनेशन के लिए इनकी अध्यक्षता में काम होगा। जितने भी केस रजिस्टर किए गए हैं, इसमें से 5 केस चयनित किए गए हैं और एक केस इन जनरल कॉन्स्पिरेसी का रजिस्टर्ड कर ये 6 केसों की जांच सीबीआई का विशेष दल करेगा, जो भारत सरकार के तत्वाधान में किया जाएगा।
Well, now, Pankaj, take a look at this. Rajiv Singh has replaced Dungal as the state DGP. He was appointed as the new Director General of the Police of Manipur on Thursday, days after the government changed his cadre for 3 years and moved him to the riot-hit northeastern state as a special case in public interest. Now, Singh replaces P. Dungal, who was appointed as an officer on special duty, OSD Home, a post that was created on Thursday to accommodate the 1987 batch officer. Dungal was not heading the operational command in the state and belonged to one of the state's 2 warring communities, which was the Kuki, something that I spoke about as well. Now, a person on our chat box has said that DGP Dungal is the reason why Manipur burnt. If he responded to the SOS sent by the government of Manipur while he was in Churachandpur on the 3rd of May, it would have been a different story. He ended up siding with the 10 MLAs. Now, of course, we're not trying to accuse or, raise any allegations or on P. Dungal or Rajiv Singh. The idea is that good sense should prevail and, we should return to normalcy on ground zero. But it seems like at this point in time, that seems like... Actually, I'm going to put it a different way. What are you making of the steps that have been announced, these changes, Rajiv Singh replacing Dungal? There is proper focus on bringing back all the weapons. Weapons is what the focus is on. What are you expecting? What are you looking at? I mean, has this, the train of recovery that was halted for a very long time, that initially started finally moving, and has that gained some momentum and speed here?
Well, yes, Kabir, definitely. When it came to recovery of weapons, remember at least 2 weeks ago, the security advisor Kuldeep Singh and the police chief made 2 different press conferences, and both of them focused on the same aspect, that a huge weapon recovery has been done. But it's a tightrope walk for Amit Shah. Look at this article by Deeptiman Tiwari in the Indian Express. It clearly mentions, it revisits the story from the front page and is not just a continuation, but brings up the aspect that you mentioned, Kabir, how difficult or how tightrope a walk it is for the government, for Amit Shah especially, who has been criticized by many to have reached Manipur only now, which is 3 to 4 weeks into this violent affair. And it was not easy for him as well. There have been accusations and counter allegations that the BJP government was busy with elections.
So the Indian Express basically says that Amit Shah is basically trying to placate the cookies, right? The Kuki community.
So that's what the catch is. While he is under fire for reaching there late, now what steps does he or the government take in order to it doesn't rub one particular community the wrong way? Now, on one hand, you have this change of the DGP, the chief of police chief, and on the other, the meetings with several communities also is being interpreted in a very different manner. So yes, it is a tightrope walk for Amit Shah, especially, who was there in the thick of things. But yes, looks like be it the weapon headache, be it the divide that these 2 communities are involved in, and thirdly, how they look at the government, how NBN Singh is being looked at, that is also very crucial.
I'll tell you what, Pankaj. I visited Jantar Mantar, where essentially the cookies and the tribal forum was protesting and trying to raise their voice, trying to raise slogans. And right at the start, all of them clapped for the Home Minister. You know, there were slogans of Sare Jahan Se Acha, and they clapped for the Home Minister, and there were proper announcements made that, you know, the Home Minister is there and we'd really appreciate it. Even as, you know, you rightly pointed out that the out there people aren't really happy about the fact that he took so much time in reaching to Manipur.
Right.
But the cookies over there, they aren't really interested in, you know, being pacified. And a peace panel, a judicial panel, a CBI investigation means that this process about who's the main culprit, who should be behind bars, what was the main reason, will end up taking more time. And time is what cookies and the tribal communities think is of grave significance here.
Well, yes, that's the case. And also, see, a lot of things when we look at these protests in Manipur, and then what we see here in Delhi or elsewhere outside Manipur, they have to be looked at from totally different prism altogether, because as I mentioned, that there is a host of you know, a lot of groups or student groups who cut across both the communities, or rather different communities of Manipur, but they live here in peace, and that kind of animosity, the fight between the hills and the terrain and the plains is not there. So their kind of protest would definitely, I believe, would be more towards you know, maintaining peace. But when it comes to the actual ground zero situation in Manipur, the emotions are high, the sentiments are high, and then the government also has a job at hand. As far as time is concerned, yes, it's of a great essence, Kabir, because we have seen how the center has now put in its effort. There were voices from several MPs and ex-MPs also for an intervention from the center. There have been talks of and proposals of president rule being also invoked. There, or at least the president should intervene. That's what the calls have been made. Indeed, at the bottom of the whole scenario, Kabir, is how to find a lasting solution for it.